she built that with her own grant money.
I did that, right?
What's up, y'all? This is Marcus Sniffles, and as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Ironheart and the end of Phase 5. Now, with our Ironheart conversation, this will be non-spoilers. We will not be spoiling the show. I do have another video that is out right now that you can watch that has a spoiler review on it. So if you're kind of on the fence on seeing Ironheart, or if you've seen all the losers that have review bombed it, and you're kind of like, well, should I see it? I'm going to tell you, you should see the movie. Before we talk about all the great things about this TV show, and before we talk about the end of Phase 5, I need you guys to like this video, drop a subscription. It's free. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. A lot of y'all are watching the videos, but you're not subscribing. So if you're here, if you've been here more than once, that means you like the content. Just subscribe to the channel. It's all good. I'm not going to tell anybody. Keep it between us. It's all good. So let's talk about Ironheart. Now, I want to shout out Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, goated. Like, if you look through every director that has had more than one opportunity to do something in the MCU, we're talking about Ryan Coogler, Jon Favreau, it's not Todd Phillips, that's the guy from The Hangover. I can't remember the guy's name from that does the Spider-Man movies, or Taika Waititi. Ryan Coogler is in that top tier, probably up there with Jon Favreau and the Russo brothers. Those were the other ones, because they've done the Avengers movies, and they're continuing to do the Avengers movies. But Ryan Coogler, goated in the MCU. Once again, another hit. There has been some talk about Ryan Coogler doing more in the MCU outside of Black Panther, or characters surrounding Wakanda. Talking about him doing like Blade or an X-Men movie. I personally do not want Ryan Coogler to do anything outside of Wakanda or Black Panther characters. I want everything that he does in the MCU to surround what he has built with these characters and that country, and with his story and the arc. I just want him to focus on that. And I would prefer Marvel give other young, up-and-coming Black creators, directors, writers an opportunity. Like, I don't want Ryan Coogler to be the only Black director in the MCU. I want other directors and writers to get opportunity. He kicked in the door, and kicking in the door in the MCU doesn't mean anything if you're the only one in the door. So I want him to be the first one in, and I want, say, 10 years from now, I want to talk about the 3 or 4 other Black directors that got an opportunity to direct a Blade movie, or direct a Spider-Man movie, or direct a Storm movie. Like that is what I will want. So when it comes to the TV show, I liked how diverse the cast is when it came to the main characters, the villains, side characters. Everybody had their own feel, and there was a lot of diversity in it. The CGI, the special effects, everything looked awesome. And it was kind of a blessing in disguise that this show got shelved for 2 to 3 years, because they were able to work on improving the special effects and the CGI and everything that, goes into making the suits and the magic and the background and everything that went into the show. And the suit looks great. Like, it could have been, put together and look sloppy, but they had time to make things look like a movie. It will look movie quality, that her Ironheart suit. And it also felt like a TV show. Like, it felt episodic. You felt like it was building up to the final episode. It didn't feel like they just made a movie and cut it up into 6 episodes like they had been doing previously with their other shows. There was a lot of continuity because there were only 2 directors. One director directed the first 3 episodes. Another director directed the next 3 episodes. It wasn't 6 different visions, 6 different voices. It was just pretty much just 2 directors for the entire show. I enjoyed the villains. I thought they were creative. I thought what they wanted made sense towards the end as far as their motivations. And it felt grounded in realism for the most part. And I would think my favorite thing about this show was how conflicted Riri felt about some of the things that she was doing. Like, obviously there's a point, and this isn't really a spoiler. This is a kind of a conversation that has been going on about how successful can you be without a lot of money, without Tony Stark money, without billions of dollars. And there are certain things she has to question, like, am I doing the right thing for the right reasons, or is this worth doing just for money to put into the suit? And side question, in a world with, Tony Stark and alien invasions, super soldier serums, Wakanda, Thanos, the Blip, Spider-Man, in that kind of world, what does it mean when you're the only person alive that can make an Iron Man suit and make an AI hologram better than what Tony Stark could make? Like, how much is that worth? Like, how important are you in the grand scheme? Like, well, let's take Wakanda out of it, because nobody knows about Wakanda outside of, outside of Riri and the guy from the CIA. But in the grand scheme of the world, like, Riri is the only person alive that could recreate an Iron Man suit. She's the only one that can make these AI holograms. Like, she needs to be a fixture in the MCU going forward, and needs to be a bigger deal, because she is smarter than Scott Lang. She's smarter than Bruce Banner. She's smarter than Tony Stark. She's smarter than Hank Pym. Like, she is possibly the smartest person in the MCU. So knowing that, I would love Riri Williams to get a bigger role in the MCU. I would like there to be a season 2 of this show, and for her to be a prominent figure in another MCU movie, whether it be in an Avengers movie or a WandaVision movie or Armor Wars or the X-Men, anything. She needs to be more front and center. And the only thing that I disliked about the show that I can say without spoiling anything is the security guards. The security guards in every aspect of the show were ass. They were so terrible. They could not do anything. Now, it leads to cool fight scenes and choreography, but what makes a great fight scene is the back and forth. There really was no back and forth when it came to the security guards in these high level places. They would just kind of get bounced around like old school stormtroopers. So that's my non-spoiler review about Ironheart. I would highly recommend it. I think it's one of the best shows Marvel has done in the past few years. So before we get into talking about the end of Phase 5, you guys have made it this far. We've been talking and discussing this show for about 8 minutes. Like the video. You've made it this far. Like the video. Now, let's talk about Phase 5 and the end of Phase 5, and kind of just like a little bit of a review of it. Now, there was a part of me that wanted to kind of review everything in Phase 5, but I feel like that would be a little bit too long. So we're just going to kind of go through and talk about the best project, the worst project, the most overrated project, and the most underrated project. And we're going to divide that into movies and the TV shows. But just for a refresher, the movies that came out in Phase 5, Ant-Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America 4, and The Thunderbolts. The TV shows that came out in Phase 5, Secret Invasion, Season 2 of Loki, What If, Echo, Agatha All Along, Daredevil, and Ironheart. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and the first one will be fairly easy. The best project when it came to the TV show on Disney Plus, Loki Season 2. Like, high-end, high-level TV, gripping, drama, the acting, the writing. Like, there's not really much you could say negatively about Season 2 of Loki. The best movie in Phase 5, by far, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like, just nailed the dismount, made you care about everybody's story. You felt like there were moments where you were going to lose someone very important, and it was just it wasn't emotionally draining, but it made you feel things that you haven't probably felt in an MCU movie since Tony Stark died in Endgame. Now, the worst projects, and I think this will be fairly easy also. When it comes to the TV show, Secret Invasion, like, what was the point of that? It looked terrible. The story was terrible. The graphics were god-awful. And what does any of it mean? Does it matter? Do you remember the plot for Secret Invasion? Do you remember any of the main characters? What was the point of that show? Why did they put that out? Like, just get it out of here. I'm fine with them retconning all of that stuff out of there. Just act like it didn't happen. And the worst movie in Phase 5, Ant-Man 3. It was just... They could have saved that movie by changing one thing about it. Like, if you make everything the same and you change one aspect of that movie, it almost becomes goated. The special effects made it worse. The ending was pretty terrible. But the one thing they could have changed that would have made this movie a great movie would have been, at the very end, Kang the Conqueror killing Scott Lang. Change that one thing. Kang kills Scott Lang, and he goes to jump through the portal, and the Wasp pops in, bumps him into the reactor. He falls into whatever. The Wasp looks at Scott Lang's dead body and realizes, like, hey, this dude's cooked. I got to get out of here. She leaves the portal. The portal closes. She has to explain to her dad and Scott Lang's daughter that he didn't make it. Yeah, it's a tough ending for a Disney movie, but when you have Kang the Conqueror talk about that he doesn't remember who you are because he's killed so many Avengers throughout time, that's kind of the ending that you need to have to set up a big bad that matters. If you want a big bad that matters, you just can't tell us that he's a big bad. He's got to show us that he's a big bad. And the only way for him to show us that he's a big bad is for him to kill an Avenger, like he had been saying throughout the movie. Now, the most underrated project, TV show, I'm going with Ironheart. I think it's just not getting watched as much as it should have been based on how many losers review bombed it and disliked it before it even came out, and the amount of negative discourse surrounding it. I feel like there's people that haven't seen it, and I hope that the people that are kind of deterred by the weirdos on the internet actually talk to real life people, because when you break it down, a lot of these people that hate this show don't even watch it. They haven't even seen it. They don't know what they're talking about. So I think more people should watch Ironheart, and I'm going to keep banging the drum for Ironheart. The most underrated movie, in my opinion, The Thunderbolts. I thought it was a cool movie. Like, it just didn't have the big name cast, didn't have the big name heroes, and it didn't do well in the box office. But I thought it was a fun movie. It was a fun movie, action packed. There was vulnerability. There was emotions. There was touching on mental health and dealing with that side of it and imposter syndrome. It was like one of the better MCU movies that they put out in a good little while. So I would say The Thunderbolts was underrated. The most overrated project. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a tough one. For TV, I think the most overrated project was Daredevil. Now, I loved Daredevil. I thought Daredevil was really, really good. But there are people kind of comparing it to saying it's the best Marvel show, and it's not that, and it's not even the best season of Daredevil. Like, if you go back and watch the first season of Daredevil, or even season 3, I believe, of Daredevil, that is some elite level TV, and this season of Daredevil is not on that level. So I guess the way people praised it in a way to where it was like, oh, well, this is just as good as the previous ones, or this is the best TV show Marvel has put out. It's not there. Now, I'm not saying Daredevil is bad. I just think that it was overrated and overhyped and overpraised. Last one, when it comes to movies, the most overrated project in Phase 5, Deadpool and Wolverine. It kind of reminded me of Spider-Man 3, where you take away some of the cameos, the storyline didn't really make any sense. Like, what was the point of all that? Just an overrated project. Now, it was funny. I thought it looked cool. It was nice seeing the original Blade and the new Gambit, but in the grand scheme of things, the storyline just didn't make any sense. The villain didn't make any sense. What they wanted made no sense. Why the guy with the Time Ripper told Deadpool about it made no sense. I guess it's to introduce the idea of the multiverse and that there can be multiple variants of someone, but yeah, just an overrated project. So those are my thoughts on Phase 5. Let me know in the comments, what do you think are the most overrated or the best or underrated or the worst projects in Phase 5? Let me know if you haven't watched Ironheart and if you're going to watch Ironheart. And if you have watched Ironheart and you want a spoiler review of it, I have a video for you right here. And I'll check you out on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.